A very good evening and welcome. This is Newsfirst Primetime News coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Today is the 3rd of July 2024. For the Newsfirst team, I am Jaimal Ratnayaka.
And I'm Rochelle Tamodara. These are headlines for tonight.
Petition filed with Supreme Court to delay presidential election until constitutional issues are resolved. Parties urged to maintain scheduled election date without postponement. Parties show signs of opposition to the national government concept. Parliament pays respect to the late R. Sambandhan. Shehan Malaka reveals source of critical intelligence linked to Easter Sunday attacks. Industrial action announced in 10 sectors.
In the current political climate, tensions are running high, both within parties and at the national level. Amidst this fervour, the daily events reported are multifaceted and require careful understanding.
At Newsfirst, we strive to simplify these complexities for our audience through our news coverage. Examining these intricate situations is crucial, and ultimately the power of the people plays a decisive role.
And with that, we move on to tonight's top story. A fundamental rights petition was filed with the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka requesting an order to halt the upcoming presidential election until the court interprets the election date.
The petition was filed by Chamindra Dayan Lenava.
An FR petition was filed before the Supreme Court seeking an order preventing the conducting of a presidential election until the court interprets when the election can be held. The petition highlights a crucial oversight in the 19th Constitutional Amendment, specifically in Article 32, which pertains to the presidential term of office. It brings to light the fact that the particular section has not been appropriately amended in accordance with the provisions laid out in Article 82(6) of the Constitution. Article 82 of the Constitution specifically addresses the process of amending the Constitution. Furthermore, the petition underscores how the failure to adhere Article 82(6) of the Constitution during the amendment of Article 32 not only violates the sovereign power of the people, but also undermines the integrity of the Constitution itself. The petitioner said the protection of the Constitution in a situation like this totally lies with the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. The petition added that the Supreme Court's decision on the petition will be a major lesson to the lawmakers to refrain from making haphazard changes to the Constitution, which is not a Play-Doh. The petitioner seeks an interim order restraining the respondents from taking further steps in terms of conducting a presidential election in 2024 until the Supreme Court completes the determination of the application. He also seeks an order that the Election Commission shall hold the next presidential election, taking into account the term of the office of the President is 6 years. Commissioner General of Elections Saman Sri Ratnayaka, Chairman and members of the Election Commission and the Attorney General have been named as respondents in the application.
The People's Action for a Free and Fair Election, or PAFREL, said that it is currently analysing whether to file an intervening petition over the fundamental rights petition.
We
do not believe that this petition carries a practical value. The law and judiciary serves to broaden, preserve and protect the people's democratic rights. Hence, we surmise that the courts will not support a matter which threatens the people's rights. As PAFREL, we have consulted our lawyers on whether we should intervene. Is this petition that important? Once we come to a conclusion, we will decide to intervene. We will not allow the people's right to decide their next president at the upcoming election be foiled. As PAFREL, we will take all possible measures to ensure it. Therefore, we do not believe that this petition holds any value.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa commented on a petition filed with the Supreme Court over the presidential polls.
මේවා අපි දකින්නේ ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාව උල්ලංඝනය කිරීමේ.
We firmly perceive these actions as deliberate attempts to undermine the Constitution. The right to vote is paramount and must be safeguarded at all costs. It is imperative that we provide the people of our nation with the opportunity to elect their president. However, we find ourselves in a precarious situation where certain clandestine plots within powerful circles threaten to obstruct the holding of a presidential election. I appeal to all responsible officials in our country, refrain refrain from suppressing the democratic aspirations of the nation. We respectfully urge the Election Commission to fulfill its democratic duty without succumbing to external influences or pressures.
ඉතාමත්ම ගෞරවයෙන් මැතිවරණ කොමිසමනුත් ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා.
Leader of the National People's Power Andrakumara commented on a petition being filed with the Supreme Court.
2019 ශේෂ්ඨාධිකරණ ඉතා පැහැදිලි තීන්දුවක් ලබා දීලා තිබෙනවා. ජනාධිපතිවරයා හැටියට තෝරා ගන්නකොට මෛත්‍රීපාල
In 2019, the Supreme Court delivered a definitive ruling that despite Maithripala Sirisena being elected for a 5-year term, the amendment ensures his term is indeed 5 years. We do not believe that Ranil Wickremesinghe, who assumed the presidency for a 2.5-year term, will be able to secure an additional term, even if it is just for a year. Jayanta Jayasuriya, who was the Attorney General at that time, is now the Chief Justice, is expected to provide a fair judgment on this matter, as he did to maintain proper view in the past. Therefore, regardless of the various deceitful tactics employed by Ranil Wickremesinghe and his supporters, we are confident that these efforts will be ultimately defeated.
විවිධ සටකපට සමහර කුමන්ත්‍රණ ක්‍රියාත්මක කරත් සහතික වශයෙන් මේක පරාජයටපත් වෙනවා.
Professor G.L. Pires announced that a decision was made to intervene with regard to the petition that was filed with the Supreme Court over the presidential election.
මේ විදියම උත්සාහයක් කරන්න යෙදුනා එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ මහලේකම්
Palita Range Bandara, the General Secretary of the United National Party, was involved in a similar attempt. At that time, it was akin to testing the waters. Similar efforts have been made this morning. The people elect the President of the Republic for a term of 5 years and not 6. The term is explicitly stated as 5 years in Article 30, subsection 2 of the Constitution of Sri Lanka, leaving no room for doubt or debate. The Constitution clearly dictates that the presidential election should occur no less than 1 month and no more than 2 months before the incumbent president's term ends. We are taking this matter to the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka to ensure that the presidential election is held in accordance with these constitutional provisions without delay or alteration. The concern is whether there is an attempt to prolong this process indefinitely, benefiting those trying to exploit the system.
නිසි කාලේ පවත්වන්න ඕනේ කියලා. ඒ කිසිත් වෙනස් කරන්න බෑ, කල් දාන්න බෑ. දැන් මෙතන ප්‍රශ්නේ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ වැල් පාලමේ මේ ගමන කෙලවරක් අවසානයක් නැතුව දීර්ඝ කිරීමට දරන උත්සාහයක්ද කියලා. අන්තිමට මේකේ ප්‍රයෝජනය සාහනය ලැබෙන්නේ ඒ වැල් පාලමේ ගෙනියන දරුවාටද එහෙම නැත්නම් දරුවා අතේ තියාගෙන ගෙන යන්න උත්සාහ දරන පුද්ගලයාටද කියන්නේ.
විශේෂයෙන් ජාතික ආණ්ඩුවකට එක පැත්තකින් සජිත් මහත්තයාගේ පිළේ ඉන්න ගොඩක් එනවා.
There is growing support from Sajid's faction to form a national government. It is better to form a national government with many others as well. When you attempt to form a national government ahead of an election, it attracts criticism. These include claims that ministries are being offered. A non-existent issue is being created through this.
ඔළුවේ දා ගැනීමක් තමයි දේශපාලන වශයෙන් මේක තුල අපි දකින්නේ.
Here's the view of the Tam Progressive Alliance on a national government proposal.
I believe the era for a national government has passed. He has been a member of parliament for 2 years and also served as president. I have met him on multiple occasions and shared my views with him. I asked him to hold provincial council elections specifically for the northern and eastern provinces to win the hearts of the Tamil people in those regions. This was not implemented, though a promise was made to allocate 5 perches of land to the people of the Central Highlands, with 4,000 million allocated for this purpose. However, no updates have been provided since then. Furthermore, he has not taken any trustworthy actions regarding the Muslim community, only empty promises. In this context, it seems implausible for the northern and eastern Tamils, political parties representing the hill country and Muslims, to form a national government. As we approach the upcoming election, candidates are forming alliances based on convenience. The focus should not be on forming a national government, but on respecting the decision of the people.
The Sri Lanka Podujana Perumal Election Operations Committee met today under the leadership of SIBF founder Basil Rajapaksha.
රහස් සාකච්ඡාවනේ මැතිවරණ මෙහෙයුම් කමිටුව රැස් වුණා. ඒ කමිටුවේ ගෙයින් ගෙට යෑමේ කමිටුව රැස් වුණා. ඒ වගකීම් පැවරුවා. ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන ආකාරය ගැන කතා කරා. මම තමයි කතා කරේ.
දැන් ගෙයින් ගෙට යනකොට අපේක්ෂකයා කවුද කියලා අහයි. මොකද්ද කියන්නේ?
ඉතින් අපේක්ෂකයා සූදානම් කරමින් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒකට පෙර සූදානම කරගන්න ඕනේ. ගෙයින් ගෙට යන්නේ කී දෙනෙක්ද? කොහොමද යන්නේ? මොනවද අරන් යන්නේ? මොනවද කතා කරන්නේ? ඒ සියලු දේවල් ලෑස්ති කරගන්න ඕනේ. ඉතින් ඒ වෙද්දී අපේක්ෂකයා සූදානම් වෙලා හිටියේ.
දැන් ඊයේ රාත්‍රියේ පැවැත්වුණු සාකච්ඡාවත් එක්ක ඇතැම් සමාජ මාධ්‍යවල වාර්තා කරලා තියෙනවා මේ සාකච්ඡාව පැවැත්වුණේ ආණ්ඩුවෙන් ඉවත් වෙන්න කියලා.
ඒක නම් අපිට sannivedanaya වෙලා නැහැ. කිසිම වෙලාවක.
ආණ්ඩුවෙන් ඉවත් වීම සූදානමක් නැද්ද?
එහෙම සූදානමක් නැහැ. අපි ඉදිරි මැතිවරණ ගැන තමයි සාකච්ඡා කරන්නේ.
කවුද ඇත්තටම ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයා?
ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයා පක්ෂයෙන් තීන්දුව කරයි ජනාධිපති මැතිවරණ ප්‍රකාශයට පත් කිරුවෙන් පස්සේ.
ඔබතුමාට ආරාධනා කරේ නැද්ද අර කාංචන විජේසේකර ඇමතිතුමාලා ප්‍රසන්න රණතුංග ඇමතිතුමාලා යන එකට?
නෑ එදාට අපේ තිබුණා රැස්වීමක්.
ඒ කියන්නේ ජනාධිපතිතුමාට සහාය දෙන කණ්ඩායමට ඇතුළත් නැද්ද?
නෑ ඒ රජයේ වැඩපිළිවෙලනේ තියාගෙන යන්නේ.
දැන් ඇත්තටම බැසිල් මහත්තයා මොන වගේ මතයකද ඉන්නේ? මොකද්ද කරන්න? මොකද්ද ප්ලෑන් එක?
දක්ෂයානේ. වැඩ්ඩානේ ඒකනේ ගහන්නේ.
කියන්නේ මේ පාරක් ගියම ගහනවා.
ගහනවා අනිවාර්යෙන් ගහනවා. ආයෝක ලේසි පාසු වෙන්නේ ඒකනේ ගහන්නේ. වැඩ්ඩා හින්දා තමයි ගහන්නේ.
මේ පාරක් man of the match.
Man of the match නෙමෙයි රටේ ජනාධිපති බිහි කරන වැඩපිළිවෙලට හරියට ගහයි ෂොට් එක.
Samikajan Balavege MP Buddhika Pathiruna attended a media briefing today. He was carrying a bag of rations said to have been distributed among the people.
Men, මේක තමයි දුන්නු බඩු මල්. අපි බලමු මොනවද මේ බඩු මල්ලේ තියෙන්නේ කියලා. සෝයා.
This is the bag of rations that was distributed. This bag, given at a Matra meeting, contains ingredients for a meal: soya, chili flakes, noodles, dal, tea leaves, string hopper flour, chili powder, ginger, salmon, curry powder and salt. Now, let's take a look at how much this costs. The total amounts to 2,915 rupees. Everyone who attended the rally received 2,915 rupees. How many of these bags were given by Satosa? How many bags were given? Who received them? When? Who paid for them? Where did the money come from? The Audit Service Commission and Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption must investigate this. This raises suspicion. Were relief bags meant for flood victims under Satosa's CSR project distributed at the Matra rally? Satosa needs to clarify. Either all bags were legitimately distributed or they must explain who requested and paid for these extras and how the distribution happened. Transparency is crucial.
එහෙම ප්‍රකාශයක් කරන්න. එහෙම නොකරනවා නම් මේක පිටිපස්සේ සැඟවුණු අතිශය නරක තත්ත්වයක් නිර්මාණය වෙලා තියෙනවා.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party has decided to temporarily suspend the membership of Dayasri Jayasekara. During a media briefing today, SLFP General Secretary Duminda Disanayake said the decision was reached based on the powers vested with the party chairmanship.
His membership was temporarily suspended. However, he regained it yesterday. Upon receiving this information, we, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, made a decision. With the governing board of officers, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party takes decisive action at the right time. Inaction could create a significant obstacle to strengthening our party.
The mortal remains of Sri Lanka's senior politician and former opposition leader R. Sampanthan was brought to Parliament earlier today for the final respects.
The mortal remains of former opposition leader R. Sambandhan was placed in a private funeral parlour in Boralla before being brought to Parliament. A group of religious leaders, scholars, politicians and others paid their final respects to R. Sambandhan. This afternoon at 2 p.m. the remains of R. Sambandhan was brought to Parliament. Speaker Mahinda Apabewardena was the first to pay his final respects after his remains were placed in the parliamentary complex. Then, representing the President, United National Party Chairman and Member of Parliament Wajrabe Wardena paid his respects. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena followed suit. Following them, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, Leader of the House Minister Susil Premajayanta, Chief Government Whip Minister Prasanna Ranatunga and Chief Opposition Whip Lakshman Kiriyalla also paid their respects. Later, party leaders, MPs and parliament staff paid their last respects. The Letar Sambandhan's final rites are scheduled for Sunday in Trincomalee.
The Election Commission will be empowered to proclaim the date for the presidential election in 14 days.
The power of the people.
The constant worry about clean water can be a heavy weight. For 470 families in Nagavila, that weight is no more. A new water purification system brings long-awaited relief and a healthier path forward.
In more headline-making news, activist Shehan Malaka Gamage, who has been advocating for justice over the 2019 Easter Sunday terror attacks, made a revelation to the media today.
2019 අප්‍රේල් 4 වෙනිදා තමයි පළවෙනි වතාවට
On the 4th April 2019, Deputy Inspector General of Police Nilantha Jayawardena, who was the Director of State Intelligence at the time, received intelligence from India indicating a possible bomb attack. Many investigators, both local and foreign, tried to trace the source of this specific information to find out who exactly provided it to Jayawardena. Despite 5 years of investigation, no team or investigator has been able to identify the source of the information given to Nilantha Jayawardena. However, today I am revealing the living source of that intelligence with evidence. This is Lieutenant Colonel Ravi Mishra. He was the one who first informed Nilantha Jayawardena about the potential bomb attack on the 4th April. At that time, he was serving as an officer attached to the Indian High Commission attached to the RAW in Sri Lanka. It was he who first provided the information to Nilantha Jayawardena. If Lieutenant Colonel Ravi Mishra were brought in for questioning and if asked how he obtained this precise information, including dates and names, it would be straightforward to uncover the story and the conspiracy behind it. He provided this information on the 4th April. As an officer attached to RAW and the Indian High Commission and accountable to the Indian government, this information is highly significant. On the 7th April, 3 days after this information was given to Nilantha Jayawardena, India's Defence Secretary Sanjay Mitra, along with the chiefs of the Indian Army, Navy and Air Force, arrived in Sri Lanka. So how can the Indian Defence Secretary, along with the chiefs of the Indian Army, Navy and Air Force, visit the country at a time when India itself delivered information of the potential attacks? On the 8th of April, there was a joint defence meeting between Sri Lankan and Indian security officials, including the military chiefs of the country. So if Ravi Mishra was aware of this on the 4th of April, the Indian defence delegation that visited Sri Lanka 3 days later should have been aware of it as well. Given the serious nature of the intelligence, one would expect the primary agenda of this meeting to be discussing the terror threat. Here we see Ravi Mishra and Nilantha Jayawardena at the meeting. The person who delivered the information and the person who obtained the information were both present. We must question why such critical intelligence was not discussed during this meeting on the 8th of April between the two countries' top security officials. At this point, we must also ask if the Indian government has conducted any investigation regarding Ravi Mishra. If not, the Sri Lankan government should request an investigation now. Lieutenant Colonel Ravi Mishra must have had connections with all the key officials in the defence sectors and political leaders of the country. We need to question whether he provided this information only to Nilantha Jayawardena.
Lieutenant Colonel Ravi Mishra ආරක්ෂක අංශවල සියලු නිලධාරීන් එක්ක සියලු ප්‍රධානීන් එක්ක රටේ දේශපාලන නායකයින් එක්ක අනිවාර්යෙන් සම්බන්ධතා තිබිය යුතුයි. එසේනම් අපි ප්‍රශ්න කරනවා ඔහු මේ තොරතුරු ලබා දුන්නේ නිලන්ත ජයවර්ධනට පමණක්ද කියන එක.
A protest was staged opposite the Columbo Fort Railway Station today, demanding that the local dairy industry stop prioritizing India's Amul.
The protest staged opposite the Columbo Fort Railway Station was jointly organised by farmers, representatives of the Board of Directors of Milco, milk trade union leaders and the All Ceylon Agrarian Federation. Following the protest, a farmers' rally was held, blocking one lane of the road. During the rally, MP Dayasri Jayasekara also extended hhis support.
මේ අවස්ථාවට සම්බන්ධ වෙන මම මේ සඳහා සහාය ලබා දීමට අපේ දයාසිරි ජයසේකර මන්ත්‍රීතුමා එතුමාගේ අවසරයි සියලු දෙනාගේම අවසරයි අපි කියනවා කලබල කරන්න එපා අපි මේ වැඩේ කරගෙන
In today's world, some countries require specific qualifications for farm workers. In Sri Lanka, having an NLB certificate can be beneficial when seeking agricultural jobs abroad. That is our identity. We will not allow you to sell that off.
Later, the group dispersed.
Professionals from 10 sectors across the country are engaged in trade union action. This Newsfirst report provides a detailed breakdown of the actions taken by each sector.
Today, government officials reported to work wearing black bands. The protesting government and provincial officials point out that they too are entitled to the bonus of 25,000 rupees given to government executive officers.
We have announced that 1st of July onwards will be a protest week. Within this protest week, on the 3rd, 4th and 5th, we will report to work donning black armbands. On the 8th and 9th, we have planned to call in sick. It is not only the executive grade officials who are facing a crisis right now. All government officials are facing this economic crisis.
Protests organised by the State Bank Trade Union Alliance were held in front of State Bank branches in several areas today.
The Ministry of Finance has selfishly cut off increments and requests of increments which were agreed upon according to our State Bank collective agreement, which involved our management, Board of Directors and State Banks.
Multiple protests led by the All Ceylon Health Trade Union Alliance were held opposite government hospitals across the island. They cited 6 demands including a 5-day work week for hospital workers, the implementation of a standardized system for promotions and transfers, and the provision of a transport allowance for hospital workers.
We have requested a discussion with the Minister. We are protesting, demanding this discussion.
Today marked day 64 of the strike carried out by university non-academic staff. The strike is being carried out against the 15% cut of allowances and the non-increment of monthly allowance. Today also marked day 10 of the Satyagraha campaign by the non-academic staff of the Uvavellassa University. Meanwhile, another Satyagraha is being carried out opposite the Karapitiya Medical Faculty of the University of Ruhuna. The Union of Administrative Officers today engaged in a protest march from the Independence Square to the Ministry of Public Administration. They demanded solutions to salary disparities and the removal of executive powers. The work to rule action initiated by Gramaniladari officers was still in effect today. Their trade union action is based on several issues concerning the constitution of Gramaniladari services and the non-increment of allowances and salaries. They have been engaging in trade union action from the 26th of June. Customs officers have been engaging in work to rule action since yesterday, protesting against proposed amendments to the Customs Ordinance. Chairman of the Customs Officers Association, Amila Sanjeeva, stated that a strike will be carried out tomorrow and the day after. The Work to Rule campaign launched by government surveyors continued for the 21st day today. Chairman of the Government Surveyors Association, Duminda Udugoda, stated that the government has given no response to their issues so far. The Government Ayurvedic Medical Officers Trade Union Collective and the All Ceylon Healthcare Association engaged in protests opposite the Ayurveda hospitals in Boralla and Maharagama, citing several issues including the non-provision of medical allowances. The protesters opposite the Boralla Ayurveda Hospital launched a Satyagraha campaign as well. Representatives of principals and teachers trade unions who engaged in trade union action in the recent days demanding solutions to multiple issues including salary disparities have stated stated that their crisis is intensifying. They said that as their discussions with the Ministry of Finance were futile, discussions with other government officials are ongoing to take further trade union action.
Meanwhile, President Ranil Wickremesinghe stressed that he will not allow anyone to disrupt the education system directly or indirectly. Expressing these views while attending a ceremony at Temple Trees today, the President said that he has discussed the issue with the Attorney General.
Education in a country cannot be maintained without discipline. If we do not protect the country's education system and allow it to be disrupted, we will lose our future generation. Recently, teachers went on strike, abandoning classrooms to protest at the Columbo Fort Railway Station. University students and others joined, demonstrating and attempting to reach the President's office, even amidst tear gas. While protests are not new, such actions do not befit the honourable teaching profession. Typically, after such events, other unions resume work the next day. However, in this instance, they stopped work without warning. This disrupted the activities in schools on 2 days. Who was most affected? The answer is clear. The students, particularly Sinhala medium students in government schools. What impact did this have? Some schools have even reported threats made against teachers who refuse to participate. We cannot allow this kind of disruption to education. People are criticizing the government for its inaction. I have discussed the issue with the Attorney General. According to the proposal, no one can disrupt classes between 7:30 am and 1:30 pm directly or indirectly. This step is necessary to protect the future of education. Remember that during this time, no hard-working employee can be unfairly promoted or transferred. I understand this may be frustrating, but please don't direct your anger at me. If necessary, I will take strong action.
Appointments were granted to 60 individuals approved by the Education Service Committee of the Public Service Commission, and teaching positions were awarded to 1,706 graduates and 453 English diploma holders.
The Joint Chambers of Commerce urged customs officials to prioritize national interests above personal issues.
The Joint Chambers of Commerce urged the customs officers to call off the ongoing work to rule and the strike planned for the 4th and 5th of July. In a statement, they added that the current work to rule action has caused significant delays in clearing import cargo, resulting in supply chain disruption and delays in production and delivery. The delay in clearing goods has led to considerable costs, including port demurrages, yard charges, vehicle detention charges, and liner charges. They said that any strike action as planned for 4th and 5th of July will only exacerbate the situation, leading to further hardship for business and the broader economy. The Joint Chambers of Commerce grievances must be resolved through discussion and not by resorting to strike or work to rule actions.
Minister of Ports, Shipping and Aviation Nimal Siripala Di Silva affirmed that Sri Lankan Airlines will undergo restructuring instead of being sold. He was speaking at the Presidential Media Centre.
We cannot sell Sri Lankan Airlines. Under Sri Lankan law, only 49% of Sri Lankan Airlines shares can be transferred to another entity. If we go over that amount, we will face issues. However, if there is a Sri Lankan coming forward, we can go for a higher percentage. Sri Lankan Airlines will undergo restructuring instead of being sold.
ඊට වඩා ඒ ප්‍රමාණය ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් ඒක නිසා මෙතන කනේ ප්‍රතියුගත කිරීමක් මිසක් විකිණීමක් නෙවෙයි.
Japan has welcomed Sri Lanka's debt restructuring agreement and said it is ready to resume yen loans for the island nation's development.
Japan has welcomed the final agreement reached between the official creditor committee and Sri Lanka on the Memorandum of Understanding on debt restructuring. Minister for Foreign Affairs of Japan, Yoko Kamikawa, also commended the efforts under the Ranil Wickremesinghe government in addressing the debt issues. Sri Lanka's Foreign Affairs Minister met with his Japanese counterpart in Tokyo for bilateral talks and a working dinner. During the meeting and the dinner, Minister Kamikawa also stated the importance of an early signing of the MOU on debt restructuring and expressed hope for the implementation of debt restructuring with other creditor countries and private creditors in a transparent and comparable manner. Minister Kamikawa also expressed Japan's intention to further support Sri Lanka's development by promptly resuming yen loans for existing projects once the MOU on debt restructuring is signed and the Sri Lankan government's intention to swiftly conclude a bilateral agreement is confirmed. In response, Minister Sabri explained the current situation regarding the signing process of the MOU and the future outlook regarding debt restructuring, and stated that he will proceed with the necessary measures in order to realize a resumption of yen loans for existing projects at the earliest opportunity.
We are deeply grateful to Japan for important supportive role in the external debt restructuring process as co-chair of the official creditor committee. I explained to Her Excellency during a discussion about the Sri Lanka's debt sustainable analysis as provided by the IMF, and I told the advances we have made with local debt restructuring, bilateral debt restructuring, and we are about to clinch a final deal with the sovereign bondholders. I also reassured our commitment that all bilateral partners and the creditors will be treated equally, and all treatment will be comparable and no one will be given special status. So that is undertaking on behalf of our people. We do believe that Japan has a key mutually beneficial role to play in our renewed hope in economic revival. So I would like to invite, and I already conveyed, to receive the Japanese investment projects such are currently in the pipeline. I welcome fresh investment from Japan in several sectors such as power infrastructure, including ports and highways, as well as in the green and digital economy. Sri Lanka believes in the freedom of navigation in the Indian Ocean and of the airspace to ensure smooth and dynamic function of the international commerce and shipping.
Special kiss again.
Sri Lankas Got Talent Season 2 starting 6 July 8:30 p.m. only on Sirasa TV. Don't miss it.
Welcome back to the news. Now, day 2 of the biannual Global Network Summit hosted by Southeast Asia Leadership Academy, or SILA, was held in Colombo today.
The biannual Global Network Summit, titled Back from the Abyss, Reaching New Heights in Asia, was held in Colombo.
The biannual Global Network Summit 2024, hosted by the Sri Lanka chapter of the Southeast Asia Leadership Academy, took place this morning in Colombo for the second day. Themed Back in the Abyss, Reaching New Heights in Asia, the event promised an exploration into resilience, innovation and growth in the SILA region, as well as spotlighting the remarkable journey of Sri Lanka and the dynamic potential of Asia's other emerging markets.
We are currently having the SIBF, NALA, SELA, MELA and SILA Global Network Summit in Sri Lanka. We are very excited. We have people from over 14 countries and nationalities from many parts of the world.
Sri Lanka has always been a sister partner country for us, going back to the ages. We're the land of the Ramanayas. So we come here with a lot of hope, wish to cross boundaries and make a difference as we go forward. That's the big hope that we have for the region and for the country.
I am so happy to be here at the Southeast Asia Leadership Academy RISE conference. And the reason I'm here is because I wanted to find out more about how can I better understand business opportunities in Sri Lanka and in this region.
SILA alumni from 9 countries in South and Southeast Asia and sister academies such as NALA, SELA, MELA and SIBF also participated in the event.
Sri Lanka's digital marketing landscape charted a new course today as the Digital Marketing Association of Sri Lanka hosted its highly anticipated Digital Marketing Summit 2024.
The Digital Marketing Association of Sri Lanka hosted its much-anticipated Digital Marketing Summit 2024 today. Themed Charting the Uncharted, the summit aimed to equip businesses and individuals with the knowledge and strategies needed to navigate the ever-evolving digital landscape. The summit offered a platform for industry leaders to discuss the latest trends and challenges in digital marketing. Sessions covered topics such as artificial intelligence's impact on creativity, optimizing marketing strategies, and navigating the complexities of online advertising. The event brought together a diverse range of participants, including digital marketing experts, advertising agencies, business leaders, and technology enthusiasts. More than 20 global speakers, more than 25 partners, 3 in-depth workshops on the field, and more than 1,000 attended the event.
Sirasa TV is preparing to bring another season of the international renowned talent show franchise Sri Lanka's Got Talent closer to Sri Lankan audiences.
Sri Lanka's Got Talent Season 2.
Sirasa TV gears up for Season 2 of Sri Lanka's Got Talent. The internationally renowned talent show franchise premieres on the 6th of July at 8:30 p.m. on Sirasa TV. This was announced at a press conference held this afternoon at the state-of-the-art Stein Studios in Ratmalana.
Sri Lanka's Got Talent Season 2 සෙනසුරාදා රාත්‍රී 8:30ට සිරස TV තුලින් අපි ඔබට තිල්න කරන්නට සූදානම් වෙනවා.
මේ රටේ දක්ෂීන් ඕන තරම් ඉන්නවා.
Sri Lanka is brimming with talent. What our people, especially the youth, truly need is an opportunity to showcase it, not just on a local stage, but on the international stage as well. This stage is your chance. If you've got talent, dedication, and a dream you are willing to chase, join us and step on to the international stage. We all know Sri Lanka is overflowing with talent. The biggest challenge for these talented individuals has been finding a platform to shine. We have created an international stage for them to showcase their abilities. This opportunity is open to everyone. Sirasa TV has a long history of opening doors for people from all walks of life, and Sri Lanka's Got Talent is no exception.
Got Talent program is a global phenomenon produced in over 80 countries worldwide. Sri Lanka's Got Talent is open to contestants of all ages with skills in singing, dancing, magic, circus acts, gymnastics, pet performances, comedy, fire shows and stunts. This season's esteemed judging panel includes singer Natasha Ratnayaka, social media influencer Danu Inasithambe, actor Akila Danuddara, and popular actress Sangeetha Weeraratna.
Sri Lanka's Got Talent Season 2.
Waking up. Waking
Sri Lanka's Got Talent Season 2. Starting 6 July, 8:30 p.m. Only on Sirasa TV. Don't miss it.
During the journey to the shrine of Our Lady of Madu, one comes across many historical landmarks, and this entrance in the shape of an arch situated at the Madu junction bears such a historical importance. The construction of it depicts a structure similar to that of the Madu church. An effigy of Our Lady of Madu is placed at the location for devotees to venerate. The church sheltering Our Lady of Madu is situated nearly 10 kilometers away from this structure. A rectangular pit has been cut into the floor to the right of the main entrance to the church. This is said to contain sacred soil, and devotees believe it holds medicinal properties and provides protection. The dome, constructed to pay respects to the Holy Eucharist, located within the compound, is reserved for the devotees to pray and pay their reverence. It was declared open in 2015 during His Holiness Pope Francis' visit to Sri Lanka. It is a common practice for those who visit this holy site to light a candle in the hopes of realizing their aspirations or to pay reverence for fulfilled aspirations. Another tradition is to obtain the blessings of the shrine of Our Lady of Madu. It is every Sri Lankan's duty and responsibility to preserve the sanctity of one of the most sacred sites in Sri Lanka. That is the holy shrine of Our Lady of Madu.
Day 31 of the third phase of the LOLC Div Savia program, which is being carried out for the betterment of Sri Lanka's future generation, got underway today.
Today's program was centered around the Batiklu district. Accordingly, school bags and stationery equipment were donated to students of the Periyapullumalai Roman Catholic Tamil School, Aithiyamalai Government Tamil School, Pandariyaveli Namagal Government Tamil School, Mahilavadavan Kantapodi School, Bilavadavan Vinayagar School, and the Karvadi South Government Tamil Mix School. School bags and stationery equipment were also donated to students at the Batiklu Zonal Education Office. The LOLC Div Savia program continues to forge ahead for the future generation of Sri Lanka.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
Take care and good night.